Today it's sunny finally. After so many days, kind of was missing the sun. So yeah, another episode of Nothing. By the way, if you're watching my Nothing series, just I put a poll where I've asked for feedback. Do you want these Nothing series to continue? Because this series is nothing but me speaking from the heart without any script, agenda. I don't know what I'm going to talk. I just put on the camera and I talk. So do you like this series to continue? Put your comments down below so that I can see the feedback. And let me know, do you have any suggestions, ideas? You know, I may not accept them, but it definitely gives me a pulse of the audience. So let me know if you'd like me to continue the Nothing series. I will be planning a few changes in terms of not the presentation or the content, a few things. But first I'd like to hear what you have to say. Alright? Anyway, for those of you who are wondering what is the Nothing series, it's just me talking from the heart. There's no marketing of my service. There is no world news, politics. It's just like one human being to another, like friends, Like sometimes I'm sure even you want to talk to somebody, or like a diary, Nice, huh? Feels nice. Should stand sometimes like this, like, ooh, just stand, when I small eyes to close my eyes and look at the sun, and you can see your eyes, eyelids become like pink, red, or whatever, And you shouldn't stare at the sun, but I used to look at the sun sometimes, and then you could see small, blind spots. When you're when you're small, you do so many things. Anyway, I thought today I'll share an incident that happened some time ago. I'll see if I can get the screenshot. If you see the screenshot, you'll see me holding my baby. She has a safety harness at the back, which when she runs, I just hold sometimes. And this photograph, you'll see her holding a book, me holding her. This was before the COVID pandemic. So what actually happened? That's what I want to share with you. Why this moment in time is so special for me. If you have followed my channel so long and you know my history, my stepfather was very abusive. He's a piece of shit. I don't want him to die. I want him to live and suffer. Whether cancer, tumor, anything. I would take great amount of pleasure knowing that he's suffering every day. Because he's an animal. Okay? That much he tortured me as a child. Mentally, physically, in every way. And he didn't stop. That spite and hatred because I was the son of another man, which is no fault of my own. So he made it known that I was second best to his son, my half-brother. Okay, that's Frederick Pinto for you. Mangalorean Catholic. So the other person is my mother. My mother's name before marriage was Helen After she got married to my real father, Helen Machedo or Machedo, whatever. And then she divorced him because he was a womanizer. Then she married a childhood love. My mother was, even those days, very calculative. Even though this was a childhood flame, she married someone who she thought would have a better ROI. Because those days my stepfather, Daniel Leslie Machedo, was working on the ship, He used to travel around the world, so maybe he had more money. He He was from Kochi, Kerala, but I don't think he was settled down there in Kerala. So they got married and didn't work out, and he used to shag anything that had a vagina. He would want to shag it. It seems he even had sex with the maid, the cleaner, young girl, and she killed herself. And then they paid something because she suicided or some shit like that. I have no idea. So then my mother decided to go to Dubai. That was the golden era of Dubai, UAE. And she bumped into this guy over there. And they stayed live-in for some time until they got officially married after a long period of time. So during the live-in phase, I was also there. So this guy was not a like husband, or he was like a live-in partner, but he was more like, my mother was more like the alpha male. My stepfather was more like the, passive person. So my mother would tell him, do this, do this. He would actually do it. He was more sorry. To give you an idea of his personality, in a group he would be laughing and happy and jokey and jovial, So he wouldn't. This thing is tickling my nose, man. It's a blackhead remover. So he would be jokey, jovial, harmless, short, piddly fuck. He was 5 foot something, 4. So, but in the house he would show you that big, But he was like remote controlled by my mother, which that time I didn't know. So I used to think he's the most strict. My mother used to tell me, oh, be careful, Papa is coming. So I used to always be afraid of him. So this is how I was brought up. School and come back home and get locked up in the house. No TV, no radio, no nothing. Just my cousin sister sometimes has to play with her. And that was my life. School and home, school and home, school and home. They would lock me up in the house, and then they would come from office late night because they would work multiple jobs. So I spent my whole life not interacting with anyone, not being with anyone. But one thing I would love is books. I don't know why. Maybe because I was alone and there was obviously no TV, no smartphone, no internet. Those days there was no smartphone, no internet. The TV was that big box, you had a knob, tick, 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 tick. You had an antenna. Maybe this new generation doesn't know. There was an antenna on the roof. You had to turn it physically to get the, receive the channel clearly. Okay. So I used to do that. And so I used to like reading books. Love reading books. I don't know how. For those who are Indians would know this series. It's called Amar Chitra Katha. It's like a comic book, but it speaks on the tales of India in a nice way, in a cartoony way. Then funny things. It's like a cartoon script, like a strip. Different characters and superheroes and sometimes they would have history and the kings and, mythological characters, and also about Hinduism, They didn't have anything got to do with Christianity those days. It was mainly for a Hindu crowd. So I used to buy those books, history, and I used to like the comics. And then later on, obviously, as I grew up, Marvel comics, I couldn't afford to buy them. They were $1. I couldn't afford to buy them because my parents would never give me money. I would just skim through the pages. And then when I started to go to school, I had this school library. In the school library, you can read any book. So where people used to go and play games, I used to go to the library to read books. I like reading books. I would see the pictures. I think the name was Eden Blyton. I can't remember. It was comic book where rabbits and this and that. I used to read those books. And the librarian used to see me come alone and read books, and we were allowed only one book to take home. Only one book. But because he used to see my passion of reading books, he would let me take 4 or 5 books, Nice man, I really appreciate. But I used to keep the books hidden from my parents because my parents only wanted me to read school books. So I would buy books on history but with little bit of pictures. But that was later on during its 6, 7, 8 standard. When I was a small boy, so small. Like now I can see my daughter, so small. When we used to go anywhere, I don't know if you remember the series Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why, Tell Me How. Those are like encyclopedias. And before the internet came and before Microsoft Britannica came out, before Wikipedia was there, you had door-to-door salesmen selling these massive library of books, okay, in dictionary and books and all that, with books on animals, and it is complete series. They would sell it for, I think, $200, $300. They used to go door to door. Fine. Yeah. They would go door to door to sell these books. So when they came to my house, I wanted it so badly, but my parents refused, obviously. But my aunt and my uncle, who were staying few buildings away, they purchased those books. We were in this, like a community, many buildings in an area. So they bought the books. I was so happy. I used to go and read those books every day. They wouldn't let me take it home. I'd read it there for 1 hour, something, and come back. However, when my mother and father and me, we would go out for shopping, supermarkets or whatever. Those days there was Lal's and Choitram in the UAE. They were the chain. Now there is Carrefour and Lulu hypermarket and all. So those days when we used to go there to this hypermarket, it was a big thing. It's a big supermarket. So when you would go there, they would buy things. I would rush to the few magazines and few books. Small boy. I would go and open a book and, nice pictures and nice. And then, obviously, when it's time to go, my mother and father would call me, come. So I would take the book and say, Mama, I want. And my mother would always tell me the same sentence every single time. No money. They would not say no. They say, we don't have money. So just imagine you're telling a small boy, a small child, who wants to buy a book to read. No money. It's not that my parents are poor, mind you. My parents were, those days, earning a very good income. They were lucky that my father got as a clerk, and they were being paid British salaries in UAE. Those days, in UAE, they didn't have like the excess supply of Indians. So they used to pay like British salaries to even Indians. So my father, in the early 80s, if you translate that salary today, it would be roughly, the purchasing power would be $10,000. Seriously, $10,000. To be a clerk, to just pick up the phone. And my mother was also working side jobs and all that. So overall, they had a very good income, but we were living like simple poor people. But they had a very good income. Proof of this was, my parents purchased, I think four properties in Mumbai, which is like Manhattan of USA. They purchased total of 3 or 4 properties. So they had good money. But now, imagine the son is asking the mother, Mama, I want this book. I remember so vividly my mother saying, no money. I would just look at the book with a broken heart. I would be so sad. I would take the book and keep it back. And then I would see, these chocolates I kept at the counter, no? So I say, Mommy, I want. Again, my mother would say, no money. I would want to buy maybe a Kit Kat or I don't know what chocolate was there that day. I remember some chocolate. I think it was Kit Kat. say no money. So I would just keep it back and just imagine you're telling a small child no money. No money. So I'd come back home. My mother believed in a biblical principle, spare the rod, spoil the child. So she used to tell my stepfather, be very strict with him, be violent, tame him, so that, in Mangalorean language, you have this, they have this belief that Mangalorean Catholics, I don't know about other Mangalorean Hindus or whatever, they believe that the child should take care of the parents. You have to take care. After all, we invested so much money in you for what? Why we give you education? Why? You have to take care of us. So, not all, but some believe that is their explicit right. And some of them are hyper-possessive. Some of them are, like I know this lady, she's the mother of one of my friends. He's 40. The mother still wants to know where he went, what he did, who he met, why he met, why he met and where is he going. And just imagine he's 40 plus. This is in those days. She still wants to know where he's going, what he's doing, why he's doing. Fucking crazy, man. Like nagging. So anyway, my mother was one of those kinds. So I was tamed like a dog, like an animal. I never forgot those incidents. As I grew up, still no money. As I ran away from home, still go to these shops, open a book and read until the bus would come where you have to go to work and keep the book back and go. There were some people who were very kind to me. They allowed me to read those books. The shopkeepers, they said, you can read. And then there were some others who were even more generous. They're like, okay, why don't you buy the book? I said, I don't have money. How much do you have? And then they would tell me, okay, fine. I'll give you the book, pay in installments or pay today this much, pay. And I would pay them, My first book was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And after that, when I saw, you can be anything, you can achieve anything. For a boy who was just born and raised with abuse, you had a motivational book, American author says, there's something special in you to achieve greatness. I bought all these books. Then I bought Tony Robbins and Robert Sculler, Stephen Covey. You're talking of when I was in my 20s, man. So anyway, this is later. So, small boy Loy, no money. It stayed in my heart. That's why I have this massive library. I have a library that's costing almost $500,000, man. Dollars, huh? That much money I've spent like a mad guy. DVDs, MP3s. I bought more than what is required. And I got rid of so much of that for a throwaway price because I had to literally spend $15,000 just to get the shipping of these books. That many books, CDs, DVDs, MP3s, hard disks of courses. Anyway, so today that fire is died. But I'll tell you why I bought that incident. So I never forgot that pain. It remained as a child. You never forget the childhood pain, the heartaches, the memories, the abuse. Okay. So now this tattooed guy, 40, 45 years old. Now I have a daughter, I have a wife, small little baby girl. So that day we went to Tesco, which is the only one of the 2 or 3 only shopping malls here in Samui. It's a regular hangout joint to buy shopping, eat some food. And so once a week or once in 2 weeks we go shopping. So when we go there, the baby is very happy because it's like, we can go out and there's a play area and all that. So as soon as I left her, she went running everywhere. So my wife is like, I just told the wife, let her run. It's okay. It's a kid. Kid has to explore, So my wife has to chase her. That's why I gave that harness. So safety, So the baby went to play, where all the small toys are there and video games and, children's play area. That is, I told you, before COVID. And then after that, obviously baby is hungry. So he gets hungry, ate. little bit rice and all that. I was feeding the baby, and she drank some juice. I don't give her juice. I give her water. I don't want her to drink Coca-Cola and Pepsi. No sweeteners. Okay. No sugary drinks. So she finished all that, and then, as usual, she has a lot of bouncy energy, and she was running all around. And as we were moving, I let her go freely. We are just walking around. Suddenly she saw this bookstore. This is a Thai bookstore. This Thai bookstore has a lot of books, but mainly they have also for children. Children's toys and children's books and children's stationery and children's study material. And they display it very prominently. So my baby saw the store. Zoom, she ran inside. So me and my wife, we also followed. We ran inside. And, before you know it, the baby is going through different aisles and running around and running. And, babies have this habit. They go different areas. Oh, so many colors, so many things. So I told my wife, maybe the baby will want a toy or something. Just see. If it is good, we'll buy the toy. So in my head, my baby would pick up a toy. There are these eggs and Barbie dolls and, cubes and blocks. And then suddenly we noticed the baby is not running around. So I asked my wife, where's the baby? So we're looking different. There were some 4 or 5 aisles. And there I saw my baby at the corner. It was a corner of area. So I went there. And there I saw this shop, the sales rep standing behind my baby, just watching, because these are books, you can tear. So my little one, she sees this book. I'm from afar. My baby has not seen me. She's trying to touch the book, and then finally she grabs the book. But obviously, baby is small, no? So she grabs, so the book is kind of bending, and that sales rep, no, please. And my baby got a little afraid, and baby saw me and came running towards me. So I saw my baby a little afraid. Told my wife, tell that lady, whatever the baby spoils, I will pay money. Just leave the baby alone. Tell her not to worry. Because I understood, she's working there. Obviously, if it tears, she has to pay from her pocket. So I told her, tell her, give her 1,000. Tell her whatever the baby spoils, I'll take care. So my baby was afraid because, stranger. So my baby informed this lady, and then I told my wife, tell the baby can go and see the book or whatever she wants. So my baby communicates to my wife in Thai. So, and my wife communicates in Thai. So she said, okay, in Thai, like, what you want, in Thai. And so my baby went back to that same corner. And there she stood, with those big, beautiful eyes. She just stood and touched the book, and, she's small, no? Then she wanted one book, and this time my wife was there to assist her. So my wife said, this one? She said, yes. And she picked up that book. And then she saw another book. You have monkey and you have bear and cute animals. So she removed another book. And then she removed a coloring book. So 3 books. So then my wife asked, you want anything else? No. The baby took those books. And now she's holding the books. Huh? So my wife and I wanted to see what she will do. So she took the books. Now, just mind you, this is almost like before COVID, 1.5 years ago. So the baby, my baby comes, and then she shows me the books. She's so small. She's when my baby showed me the books, just there was a bloody flash of memories, a flood of memories. Suddenly I just saw a small Loy showing me that book. Small Loy telling that he wants this book. I just looked at my baby, and for a brief second, I'm looking at my baby's looking at me. I just bent and carried my baby. She was still showing me the books. She was afraid that I would say no. She was afraid that these books would be kept back. Yeah, a small baby, who will she ask? She'll only ask me, So I went to that sales rep and I said, please, these 3 books. So took the books, and my baby didn't say a word. My baby is still looking at the books, and somehow she got so engrossed in it, like I'm holding her, but she's looking at the book, and she was going to drop, so I give the other 2 books to my wife. So she was looking at the book, and she didn't want to run and anything, so I put her in the trolley. It's so funny, man. It's like your whole life, went round in a circle. Where once upon a time I wanted books, and my parents wouldn't give that small Loy. Today, small Loy's baby likes books. I'm not one of those fathers that everything my daughter wants I'll buy. Many times I tell her no. But where studying and education is concerned, what my parents didn't let me do, I'm not trying to be a holier than thou father. I'm not looking for Father of the Year award. But for my little baby girl I don't know from where she got that habit to read. I never pushed her to read. She reads, So, it felt good. There are times where maybe my baby wanted something, and we have to manage the budget every month. Whatever money we get, I tell you, we save and we focus on what we have. So sometimes we have to save. Like the time when she wanted an iPad. She didn't want an iPad. She used to look at my wife's phone, and it was not good because she was straining her eyes. So she used to, and my wife, apparently she broke the phone and there was a big crack. There was only one phone that time. So this once again pre-COVID. And I went to buy, I'm sure you know this story because I made a video on it. I went to this computer shop, I had saved money for it, achieved my target. When I bought the computer parts, my baby was once again, when you go to this computer store, they have all the phones and tablets, which look so nice, no? So my wife took the tablet down and she was showing the baby ABCD and all that. And I got all my bags with the computer parts, and I was ready to go home. And that was my first PC, after a long time. I had only an iMac. I decided to get into the PC world. And as I was walking, I see my baby with the iPad. I see my wife, and she teaching the baby through the Samsung, tab or whatever. I just stop. And I see my bags. So many bags with computer parts. But there is the baby and the wife. I just stopped. I didn't say anything. Then suddenly my wife saw me. Oh, okay, time to go, come. When she put the Galaxy tab, my baby started to cry, and obviously it's a nice thing, no? So she was crying, and it's not the cry like, I want. She was just like as if someone took something from her, I just looked at I looked at all those bags. I was like, okay, Because you have the receipt, no? When you buy within 7 days, if the packaging is right, they take it back. So I had not even left the store. I turned around and I told my wife, wait. Turned around, put all those bags up. I told that guy, okay, how much is that Galaxy Tab? So he said, but it was slightly expensive. So I said, okay, what is it? Better than this Huawei? He had one. Because I wanted to buy even for the wife a phone. Her phone was cracked. It just didn't strike me that my wife's phone is cracked, because it just happened, So it's like, instead of me buying all this, I'll buy for my wife a phone because she needs for her work. She talks to her mother, father and all that. And for the baby, for my gaming, I can manage. So, see, I'm not saying this to portray myself, oh, what a saint. It's as a first-time father, no? As a father, you don't know these emotions, you don't know these feelings until you become a father. Yeah, as a bachelor, I would give a fuck about anyone. I wouldn't care. You don't have, it's your fucking problem. Even my girlfriends, you don't have, good. First me. But when you're a father and your wife takes care of you and you have this baby, how can you play a game and enjoy when your child needs something to study and learn? So I bought it. It's not that I was suffering. It took me another 1 more month, saved the money. Like I told you, I work within the budget. I don't take money from the savings and all that. So achieved again and bought. So it's not that I was suffering, it's just 1 month delay. But I was glad I was able to be there as a father. What I want to tell you through this video is, if you're really a parent, I don't know, some people should not be parents. Really should not. While some others go beyond the call of duty, which I really cannot. Some sacrifice their entire lives for their children. I'm not that kind of saint. I believe I should enjoy my life also. I'm not going to suffer and, just give everything and die as a martyr. Sorry, not that kind of a father. But, where these feelings and emotions come naturally, it's not something you can manufacture, it's not something you can learn. I'm just glad that I went through all that pain in my childhood. So today I can understand, what a child would go through. Maybe my baby will never remember any of this. I don't know if she'll ever. And personally, she remembers, doesn't remember, I don't care. But for me, that memory which is there, looking up to my mother and father, I want to buy this and to study, and it's come full circle. And my daughter copies me so much. I sit in front of the computer and I type. My baby keeps her Huawei tab, and there's no keyboard. She's doing something, like typing. And when my wife goes shopping, there's no keyboard. But anyway, I don't want to make that habit, otherwise she'll drop water on the keyboard or something. So anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys. I don't know if it was a total waste of time for you guys or whatever, but when you have your own baby, or no matter how selfish you are. But when you think of your baby, I don't know how my mother and father, they were like that. I'll make another video if you guys are interested. But I'll never forgive my mother and father. Simple examples. Anyway. So yeah, this was another episode of Nothing. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know if you saw the whole video, but if you have, please do put your thoughts. Do you think I should continue this series? Do you guys watch it? It's always nice to read. And yeah, if you have had any similar experiences, please do put it. Sometimes reading your experiences is also so enriching. Like, as a child, did you have these experiences? Or as a father? Anyway, this is what I wanted to share. You guys take care. It's me signing off.